welcome back to our kind of 15-minute break, kind of stretched a little bit, but sure, where else would you rather be, eh, than Armagh? Okay, so kicking off our second half, we have Trish Bennett all the way from Enniskillen. We really have pushed the boat out. She might have even had to get a boat to get here, did you, Trish? Them lakes and things, no. She has a boat, well, there you go. Trish is descended from a long line of tall tales. Her family won't open their mouths around her these days for fear she'll write it down. Actually, I know the feeling. And I do believe actually that Trish does have roots in Armagh too.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Very welcome, Trish. Come on up.
I just want to thank Biddy and Raymond for inviting me here because I'm delighted to have an excuse to get back to Armagh. And I want to thank my support team, or hecklers. I'm not sure which they're going to be. So, my cousins. And this here wee story is about the daft things that goes on in families. In this case, the story is called The Power of a Peeler. The mother-in-law has a potato peeler. So what, you say? But when you hear she never goes anywhere without it, you start to wonder. She up sticks at 65 and headed on a whirlwind tour of the world with only her culinary companion for company. That peeler has gallivanted more than most. It toured the Himalayas with the Sherpas in Nepal. Well, you'd never know when you might need to peel something. And travelled to Australia and the US. I wouldn't be surprised if it was used as a defensive weapon by the mother-in-law against the advances of a lusty 17-year-old Egyptian who cornered her in the alleyway near his father's jewellery shop. In the past few years, new FAA regulations have meant the trusty tool cannot travel to far-flung places with its owner anymore. Worried that something might happen to her most valuable possession, my mother-in-law places it and its twin, a spare one, just in case. You think I'm joking, this is true. She places it under protective custody in a safe. I used to laugh about it all, thinking it was one of those follies that ladies of a certain age pursue. She arrived home after one of her many adventures with a wee present for me. Yeah. A potato peeler. I think it was bought in Italy or France and carried home with several siblings nestled in the trusty leather handbag, beside the passport and the gold jewellery. When I unwrapped the peeler from its packaging, I knew I was finally accepted into the inner sanctum of family. No longer quite the outlaw. At the time, I thanked her and put it in the drawer that everyone has, the one containing things you rarely use. One flustered day, I couldn't find my regular peeler and I resorted to rooting in the drawer. I grabbed the mother-in-law's peeler and horsed into the nearest potato. It was a devil to get used to it. I had to make several adjustments to my normal peeling angle to get into the swing of it. Before I knew it, the dinner vegetables were in the pot and on the boil. A neat pile of slim shavings smiled up at me from the compost bucket. The peeler was moved into a position of power in the kitchen. Utensils jar beside the cooker. Over time, I realised I had been turned. I finally came to terms with my obsession when I found myself buying and hiding a spare peeler of the same type in case someone took the original. When I moved house, and I moved house a lot, the peeler was not packed into a storage box with the kitchen items, but carried carefully in a secret pocket in the handbag. I wasn't the only one she converted following that trip. During a family holiday, my husband spotted my sister-in-law and her boyfriend, a normally easygoing couple, arguing over whose turn it was to use the good peeler. The argument was heated, and all stayed well away until peace was restored when they took turns sharing use of the powerful utensil. On a recent trip to my own mother's house, my cousins will know that bit, I found myself cursing her potato peeler. I was digging gouges out of the spuds and taking far too long getting the dinner on. My mother pushed me aside with a tut, took hold of the peeler and flew through the potatoes quicker than a nun through customs. I muttered defeated about the rubbish potato peeler. She laughed at me, saying it was nonsense, I just didn't know how to use it. She then continued by stripping down her peeler with the speed of a sniper after a kill. It can't be dismantled for travel, she said, smiling. This is the truth. Often I find myself scouring the utensils shop, the kitchen section, or the kitchen utensils section in shops. I justify my search, saying I'm looking for a spare peeler for my mother-in-law, who still mourns the loss of one of hers, despite all her safeguards. Have I gone mad? Have I reached that certain age too? Or maybe I'm just under the influence of a truly magical kitchen device. Yeah.